Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah. Walaikum assalam. And we are live, and we want to welcome those in the studio and those who will uh, listen to the programming on our YouTube platform. We want to welcome you to a Thursday evening edition of Not Just Talk, hosted by Michael Hamin. So we'll get started and open up our program, inshallah. So welcome to AM 360.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Ameen. And we also want to make our audience aware of our liability page, so you know the position of CWSC.
The views expressed by the host guests are their own and not necessarily the position of AM 360 or the parent corporation, the Community-Wide Shura Conference, CWSC Incorporated. AM 360 content is intended as a community service and is not designed to provide specific personal, medical, financial, or legal counsel or other professional advice, and no liability shall extend to the hosts or hostesses of AM 360 or CWSC. We encourage you to seek an advisor for your specific circumstance.
Alhamdulillah. So Not Just Talk is a Thursday evening presentation that airs here on AM 360 every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And is hosted by Michael Hamin. And he engages in conversations designed to facilitate the growth of strong communities. So tonight we will be playing a rebroadcast of a previous show for Brother Michael, as he would not be here with us. He's on a different schedule because he is observing the Ramadan fast, and the ending of the fast and the prayers fall in line with the time of his show. So just a brief hiatus for Brother Michael Hamin. So we will play a rebroadcast for him at this time. So one moment while I pull that up for you. And I pray everyone has had a wonderful day. So this rebroadcast is from February 12th of Not Just Talk with Brother Michael Hamin and guests. So we'll get that started for you right now.
So if we don't expect a Quran. If you find a Quran, say 500 years old, or somebody they got a different prescription. The prescription is CN.
Yes. And I see also, based upon our growth and knowledge of ourselves and the world that supports us, our understanding changes.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's exactly the point we're making. Exactly. Because what happens is that human beings know a lot more now than they did 14 years ago.
Yes.
They even have looked at the whole process of say digestion. They looked at all that to see, well, look, they now in the scientific community, they even recommend a certain amount we call intermittent fasting. But that's not the fast of Ramadan.
No.
Fast of Ramadan has certain specific conditions. All right. And the benefit that you get is based on you understanding the levels of which, because like a person who just last month became a Muslim, he's required to fast, right? Because he's a Muslim. But that person cannot, maybe, he or she may have problems maintaining that. But their intent may have been to fast the whole month. They're all excited, but they would get into the, they begin to realize it's a little more to it than just not eating. They may miss a day, so they lose credit for their whole fast. No, so that's when you get into all of the technical aspects of it. Make sure that you don't overburden yourself, right? That you don't overburden yourself trying to do more than what's required. I've known people they start out, they fast one day and they feel, oh, it's easy. I'm a fast. I'm gonna fast the next day too. I'm not. They make up their own schedule for fasting.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah. Fasting, and we have to remind one another of that.
Yeah.
That it's a discipline.
That discipline that's there. See, the hint is this particular word, la'ala.
Say again?
La'ala is the hint there. Because you see this word throughout the Quran, it deals with possibilities.
Okay.
Right? It doesn't deal with absolutes. We got to keep that in mind. So when I fast, I come out. Well, I mean, I can't just do this. No. There are conditions by which you fasting, and the discipline gives you the ability to stick with the obligations.
We're seeing a subtlety in this language. It's very.
Oh yeah, the Quranic Arabic especially. It's very, actually again, we can talk all day on the word la'ala. If you look at the different ayahs that you asked to do something, but it's not absolute. Yes. Remember, the Quran does not come with you like this, even though people, I bring this up for this reason. The Quran doesn't come with you with a lot of absolutes because people form unrealistic judgments when you deal with absolutes.
Yes.
Because what happens is that both the newcomer and the one who's been around for a while put on themselves obligation that God doesn't make it an absolute that you can, even say the fasting. He says those who are present at their home. Some people, I'm a fast anyway because I think I can make it through the day. I remember I was with a group and we was traveling, and we was break the fast. Some of the ones who were new, Allah said when you're at home you do it. See, it's more of discipline and obedience than it is just, you not eating. So that's what we come away with, because the more you discipline, the higher your level of discipline, the more enlightened you become about your whole development as a human being.
And I'm seeing, and I don't want to get off the subject or go too far afoot. The idea in this world that we've heard for years now, unconditional love, where the way Allah has set up us, as well as what we operate from in this Mother Nature, there are conditions to everything.
Oh yeah, see, but what you got to keep in mind, on that. But let's address that. They need to be addressed because in any of the rituals, you got to understand the conditions, and also understand that you got to understand the subtleties and influence of the enemy of the human being, which is Satan. See, that sounds good, don't it? Unconditional love.
Oh yeah, very attractive.
You know, but also it becomes big excuse making. Because
yes.
God can love me anyway. So without eating this piece of chicken or whatever, I'm breaking this fast. God loves me anyway. No. Allah tells you the other day, like 10 classes of people whom Allah loves, and then 10 classes that He don't love.
Oh,
It's
please
not
share. Please
it's not,
share.
right? You don't put, God don't put Himself on an obligation to be unconditional. What's the sense of having disciplines?
That's right.
You know, I mean, you know, Allah is merciful, but I mean, you got to be striving to be disciplined, striving to be obedient. If you're not being obedient, He's not gonna just give you a free pass because you. No, that's not. That's some religions they have that.
Yes.
But that is more of an excuse maker. It sounds good, but when you start to try to apply it, it don't make sense.
And it gives us a different quality of life.
Oh yeah, because the life that's undisciplined, I don't care in whatever it is not as successful as the life that understands. There got to be boundaries.
Yes.
Right. It got to be boundaries. All right. Because what has happened, it's kind of off the subject, but it's on the subject anyway. It's on the subject in this sense. Religious communities have evolved over the centuries.
Yes.
Who want to dictate the terms by which Allah brings judgment. That's what that's all about. You know what I mean? Allah does not love the one who does not obey Him. God is not, you know. But in some scriptures, you know, they've given the impression that you can make a mistake. God gives all sin.
You cover.
That's the case. Then why have any rules?
Yes.
Anyway, all right. So, but fasting. Allah, that's why in the sense of fasting, Allah says, of all the deeds of the sons of Adam, fasting is for him.
Yes.
Because this is the discipline that requires the individual to make a daily commitment and intention to follow the disciplines of abstaining from eating, in the daylight, having lawful relationship with your spouse. So these are conditions, right? And those who do them get the reward for the discipline.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be punished anyways. Let them eat this. No, that when you have that type of attitude, that's not what God. See, the fasting doesn't help Allah; it helps you.
Yeah.
Right. And how does it help you? You learn how to control.
Yes.
Remember now, the goal of fasting is what? To learn taqwa.
Yes.
Okay, but what is taqwa? According to Quran, the human soul has two conditions that must be developed. One is taqwa, which is the tendency to want to be cautious, to be mindful. You know, the other one is fujur. Fujur is the tendency to want to go out and explore and look at things. Now, in some of the scholarly writings, fujur, which is similar to the word fajr, you get fajr, right? But fajr is not light. Fajr is the coming of light.
Okay.
Right, and not light. Go look next. If you look at the time they prescribed for fajr, you see that it's a time that that things we were talking about a couple of days ago how
that's right, just the other day.
You look at something that's in the shadows, you would think it's one thing, but when the light fully comes up, it's, oh man, I thought that was. I remember as a child, we all had this experience. You can be laying in your bed at night, in the morning, just before fajr, and somebody have left a coat hanging on the door.
Oh man, yeah.
Right, and you think that's a person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you laying in bed all night long, afraid to move because this person's in your room.
Yeah.
You had it happen?
Yes, sir.
See, so now that's fetching. But once the light comes on, oh man, that was my coat. I could know your cousin's coat, your brother's coat.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
mad at them for leaving that coat there that scared you. That's fetching.
Yeah.
All right.
I was reading a book on how children succeed
Mm-hmm.
by this author Tuff. He's a
Mm-hmm.
journalist,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time I heard this idea of executive control or
Mm-hmm.
executive, but it has to do with discipline.
That's right.
You can't learn how to read unless you discipline.
That's right.
You can't walk. You can't walk unless
Discipline.
you discipline. You
That's
know.
right. Well, see,
Praise be to Allah.
that's one of the meanings, the definition of taqwa.
Yes, sir.
All right. Taqwa is about learning the disciplines. In fact, the greatest discipline you can have is the discipline of the mind.
Yes.
See, and
yes.
The discipline you want to have is to control your starting with your biological functions, right? Or your biological appetites, right? Now you see the connection. Since CM deals with we say fasting, but CM comes with controlling a horse.
Yes.
Horses are considered in scriptural language. Appetites are drives.
I follow.
All right, and what you're trying to learn. If you're thinking about how a horse is tamed, if you took a horse out of the wild, they put what you call a bit on it, put a thing in their mouth.
Yes.
So that you can control it. Well, think about it. When you eat, you got to be able to control what? When you fast, sometimes you got to be able to control what?
Of your appetite.
Which one? The mouth.
The mouth, yeah.
Yeah, the first one, right? First, whether not you got control over your eating drives. Every time you get an urge to eat, you can control that. Then you can extend it. What we call your biological urges.
But when we also look to, like what you mentioned initially, the idea, the mind, the intellect controls the function.
But initially, you don't think about that as a child. You mentioned I use the term biological urges.
Yes.
Right. So a baby don't have that. So baby got to go to the bathroom. It goes.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold it back. It does. It goes on itself, and then it wants you to clean it up.
Yeah.
But if you learn as you teach it discipline, it learns that every time you got the urge to go to the bathroom, you can't just don't go to the bathroom. You gotta hold until you get to a bathroom.
Yes.
That's why you look at how life works. In the beginning, you gotta have that discipline real strong, and in the end, because as you get older, you lose that discipline.
Yes.
Right? And so you got to reestablish discipline. As an adult, the older you are, the older you got to reestablish that discipline. Right. Mm-hmm. Now, even though your mind, as you get older, know that you're supposed to control it, you don't always have that control.
Yeah.
I mean, I know many people that they got older, and they, especially men, because of our anatomy. I'll show you the science of the Quran. Because of our anatomy, certain times if you're not careful, we call it leaking. You leak on yourself because the body is releasing a urine, even though you know you should control it.
Yes.
So you have to practice consciously. So whereas the certain functions were unconscious, right? In your human makeup, there's certain functions that are unconscious. But as you get older, your body you have to consciously now practice the discipline of controlling your biological urges. Whereas the baby is unaware of controlling it. Yes. The human being, the older you get, the human being have lost that control, and even sometimes lose the memory That's
That's
why.
right.
That's why when a person gets like Alzheimer's or dementia, one of the signs that they lose memory of how to control their urges. You know what I mean? And that's a sign that this person is getting so old now that even his mental discipline is slipping away.
Yeah.
See, all that's right in that concept of say CM. That's why, for example, older people get to a certain age, you're not required to fast. All right, you're not required to fast. Why not? Because it's hard for you to control your biological urges.
Yeah.
Think about it.
That's not mentioned. You don't hear that mentioned much.
Well, what I'm saying, no, but that's what I said. You got to know the meaning of the word. Know the meaning and the concept behind it, that then apply it to the whole life. That's why I said, if you're sick, all right,
right,
and you losing discipline, that's a sign that your body is breaking down.
Yes.
Certain systems are shutting down, and one of the first systems that begin to shut down is your system of excretion.
Yes.
Yes, all that's there, but you got to study deeper to see all these sciences wrapped within the concept of fasting.
I follow.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? The older people, the older you are, the burden of not eating and controlling your biological urges are relieved.
I remember watching the discipline of my grandmother, my mother's mother, and she would get up around Fajr time. I don't know if she ate but just one meal a day, you know. And I found in looking at other older people, eating all through the day was not their habit, you know, many of their habits.
See, the older you get, your body, how can I put it? You find the older you get, your body requires more rest than requires you eating.
I find that to be true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you take a lot of naps?
Power naps.
Yeah. It feels better when you take it too. I said, but see, these are the things I say again. You want to study. Remember, let's go back. I'm sorry, I may have skipped something.
Okay.
It says, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba has been CM has been kutiba. Kutiba has been to prescribe something. All right. So now this is a prescription, and prescriptions are what's given. If you think about it, and it's medication.
Yes,
right.
That's right.
Maybe I went off on that because see, the older you get, the more the prescription is needed.
I follow.
See what I'm saying? So so that's what I missed that part. I'm sorry because if you don't know what it means to be, and then the question becomes, who wrote the prescription? See, a lot of because he knows the capacity of the human body, the human mind, and the human soul.
Yeah, I'm thinking often now about where Prophet Abraham says, the one who knows me, or the one who originated me.
Okay, exactly. Well, the one who originated me shall guide me.
Yes.
That's why I said once we take these instructions from the Quran, you got to look at deep. You got to look at deeper at them and just we have to fast. No, Allah prescribes this for a certain condition. And that condition is that you may learn this taqwa. Well, you got to connect the taqwa back to what Allah says about taqwa is a property in the soul. Right?
Yeah.
But as you get older, your control is diminished. So what happened is that the people who, as they got older, begin to realize that that what Allah says is true. If you're sick or on a journey, one of the worst things. I mean, you can see a person got to use the restroom and he don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And he's running around. But see, I use that example because it says when you're at home,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you know where the restroom is.
That's right.
See, but you out in the public, you don't know where the restroom is. You know,
Yeah.
you on a journey. You on a journey, and you come to a place that's not familiar. So fasting is prescribed for you, but even that's under conditions.
Yeah. All of this is just really making a lot of sense. You know, it's very logical.
Well, I'm saying that's the beauty of the Quran. See, it's all there. It's not. I like to refer to what's in the Quran as spiritual rationale. It's
Yeah.
spiritual, yes, but it's also rational.
Yes.
And this was the beauty of Prophet. You mentioned Ibrahim. He didn't only. He said, "Yeah, I believe, but just show me how you raise the dead." See, that you know, he was following what we call spiritual. It wasn't what God said do it, but when you look into what Allah asked you to do, you see all these sciences there. That's why spiritual rationale is that it is spiritual, but it has a rational base, and that's the beauty of Islam. You know, but we're not asked to do anything that that doesn't make sense.
And that's a part of the what we're told to not be blind followers.
Exactly. Not be and to think. As you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, thinking.
Yes.
The think. I mean, God said think, but thinking benefits the thinker,
Yes.
and that has been the great advantage that we have. I say again, everybody can do the ritual, but they don't get the benefit. You get the benefit when you think about what is in the ritual for you to learn.
We've been under a very special type of leadership.
Absolutely.
It's spiritually rational,
Yeah.
common sense, even, but
Mm-hmm.
more than just common sense, inspired common sense, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Spiritual rationale. Spiritual rationale.
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm beginning looking at all of these challenges that we have before us. I'm beginning to appreciate it more and more.
Maybe to Allah. Well, I tell you this, and well, let's go a step further then.
Yes, sir.
These things, in the day and time that we're in, I'll give you an example. I'm taking to account, not an extreme, but something that just kind of shot to your mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna use something that's big in the news, right? And you see some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals can't control their biological functions. This thing we would say the Epstein files.
Yes.
Have you been following that?
No, I try not to. I've got bits and pieces.
Okay, well,
but
let me tell you. Don't worry about that. I'm going to tell you
yes,
something.
sir.
Anytime, see, this problem is not just a local problem. It's not even a national problem. It's a global problem. But historically, rich people, powerful people, who have people under their control, lose control of themselves.
I've witnessed this. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what happens is that one of the things that is happening now, you're seeing the exposure of that world that took advantage. Think about it. Go back a few hundred years, and a lot of these behaviors, well, it didn't mean that.
Yeah.
A rich and powerful person who owned slaves could do that to them, and nobody would say anything because that's their property. All right. So that, okay, nobody said nothing, but that behavior is still there. Now, as we move into modern times, now it's exposed because they're doing it now to themselves. And only that, I'm sure if you go online, you see a lot of missing persons. You never find out what happened to them.
Yeah.
Well, what they're finding now is that type of devious mind that has no checks and balances, it has been operating for centuries. It's not new, right? And if you study, so even though we talk about fasting, a person who cannot control his biological urges, if he's given, the more and more power he has, the more he can express that urge.
Yeah, they've shown, the stories of and the history of the Marquis de Sade,
Yes, right.
sadism, masochism,
Okay, but that's just the tip of the iceberg,
Yes, sir.
right? That whole mentality that that when the mind doesn't have moral restraints, every urge, Allah says in the Quran, He says, we have created a human being and we know what dark suggestion his mind makes to him.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember reading that? Well,
Yes, sir.
well, that's for everybody. But
Yeah.
people who know how to fast, I'm tying all this in. They know how to restrain all these dark urges.
Yes, sir.
See, if you don't discipline your horses, they'll run wild on you.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard about bestiality behavior was in the military.
And that's right. And people who, I say again, when you don't have control over your biological urges, any dark thought that comes to your mind is expressed. Now imagine someone who has power, who has wealth and can do these things, and there are no consequences.
I understand.
All right. So go back to fasting. I
Yes.
learn the importance of fasting is to strengthen our moral consciousness. The taqwa. So don't just think of taqwa as some, we don't see taqwa as a rule we can apply on any situation in history. In our own time, we think, oh yeah, let's go fast Ramadan. No, but the human society needs an understanding of Ramadan and fasting, because you see, look what's coming out. This is
a lot of sickness needs to be healed.
That's right. And praise be to Allah, the Muslims have the ability, if we will apply it, to help people get well. Because what happens, these types of behaviors are supported by certain structures in society. I remember one time when, as a young man growing up in New York, you couldn't find a lot of, say, homosexuality.
Yes.
Right? But then all of a sudden, they made it popular, made it all right. So now homosexuality is a given. It's not, and people don't even stop to think that here's the behavior that is being promoted, which says the person don't know the function of his mouth and his anus.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even register on people's mind. That's
there's bullying. There's a bullying going on too, where they were quietly practicing this behavior, confused behavior. Now they want to press and bully folks to demand its establishment in the society.
That's right. But that's because they don't have the moral clarity.
Yes.
That's why I said the Muslims must speak up. Not to impose our lifestyle on anybody else either.
No.
But just to demonstrate to the world that some of us have moral clarity, and we follow what God prescribed, because He does not make mistakes, and it is assigning gender roles. That's God don't do that.
Yes.
Human society does.
It's an informed opinion or informed expression.
Yeah. I'm saying because everybody may know about it, but that don't mean you got to be involved in that.
Yes.
So some people, la'allakum tattaqun, that perhaps you may what? Learn. I mean, everybody learning.
Taqwa.
They learn the taqwa, the tattaqun. Learn taqwa.
Can we include, we're saying moral and ethical behavior?
All that goes all together. It all comes under the same heading.
Yes.
I mean, if you don't have moral behavior, it's hard to have ethical. Ethical means how you. Moral is knowing right and wrong. The ethics is whether or not you apply it in how you in your lifestyle.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
That's why a lot of times, take it one step further. That's why some people don't understand why Islam does not approve of certain behaviors, even though people say I'm Muslim. Well, you got your morals confused.
Yes.
Because your ethical behavior is not supported in what you're doing. And
yeah, I've seen Muslims propagate things that Allah has not spoken to, and I saw it in terms of God's mercy in allowing us to come to the proper conclusion, even though we don't know, even though He has not spoken directly to the issue.
Well, he has and he hasn't. Listen,
Okay.
everything is not in the Quran per se. A lot of it is in human nature.
Thank you.
See, and you got to understand what is. I say again, what every human being has tendencies. You are given a certain you give go back. We're talking about ritual. You're given rituals to help you to strengthen. If you do these rituals the right way, it strengthen your will. If you do them the wrong way, and you use it to justify a weak behavior, then you don't get the benefit. Mm-hmm. You know the things we do, whether it be salat, prayer, or fasting, all these things help to strengthen our resolve, so we can have moral clarity and proper ethical behavior. Because the human being, remember now, you can rationalize anything, right? But the key is, does it fit into the behavior tendency that God wants you to have?
Right.
I mean, he doesn't say it. You know from your human nature whether or not what you're doing is approved by God. Now you can convince me, convince yourself, but do you think that God approves of that? God approves of that?
No.
Okay. All right. My thing is, when people tell me all that, I just ask, okay, you think they're good? Because we all got to answer for our behavior. You don't have to answer to me, right? I don't try to put myself. You tell people this: we can't put ourselves in a holier than thou position,
right?
All right, but we can say that we are trying to be obedient to who? You're not trying to be obedient to me.
To Allah.
To Allah, exactly. So it goes back. Fasting is for who?
Allah.
There you go. So to my point though, you got to be able to take what is said and apply it to all circumstances. So see whether or not it fits the overall discipline of what Siam or fasting is all about.
Yes. This has been so instructive, Imam.
Alhamdulillah.
Abdullah.
Well, the key, let's say again, we all, so we can spend this night going over the rituals. But actually, again, most people know, don't eat anything during the daylight hours, and all that, you know that. But the question is, how do you apply that to society today? Because the world needs the clarity. It needs moral clarity, brother, more than anything else.
Yes. Right. And Prophet Muhammad represents that to us as a model of that.
That's right. And you mentioned ethics. See, ethics is how you behave after having moral clarity. But the moral clarity comes if you looking at things and not rationalizing your behavior. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And there's quite a bit of that. And
yes,
I was just looking at this idea of cognitive dissonance, where you've developed a body of knowledge. You have a certain knowledge frame,
mm-hmm.
and you don't allow anything to come into that to upset or disturb that framework. It's like fixed thinking, fixed mindset.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You won't allow anything. You're stuck at a certain point.
But
it's like the saying, you can't teach a person that thinks they already know.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm saying that's a big part of the world today.
Yes.
Because if we as Muslims don't bring the moral clarity, people think that what they have is sufficient.
Yes.
I mean, I think that, and too often people like to project. That's why I said, go back to the statement you mentioned about unconditional love. See, when you start off on that premise There's nothing that you can do that's wrong.
Right.
So there is no moral clarity when everything I do is okay.
Yeah.
See? And if anybody challenge that, they the one that's wrong. See, this society got us so mixed up, man, that we think that to be involved in wrong is okay, but to try to correct the wrong, you wrong.
Yeah. And I see, because of this environment that we're in,
mm-hmm.
we should give, and this is my opinion, we should give more attention to our framework, architectural, moral, I should say social framework,
Mm-hmm.
because we've been given a guidance to elevate our thinking.
Yes, but see, but
and give us work, though, moral clarity.
But on for that to work, though, you got to be willing to dissect and disassemble what we already have and rebuild, because a lot of what we have been conditioned with has flaws in it.
Yes.
You know, and especially if we are, I'm talking the Muslims, I'm talking about now. If we have a lot of ritual understanding, right? The influence of Satan. That's why I say, you know, and this Ramadan is a good time. We have to really, 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 really make an effort to study the Quran. We have to do a deeper dive than on the surface, because the weapon that God gives us to make those corrections is the Quran.
Yes.
But you know, if you try to finish the Quran and say the 30 days, sometimes you're reading it, you're tired, you're just glossing through the pages. No, you know, where you get that you must read it in 30 days. Where you get that from? Did Allah said that?
I haven't found it.
Right, but everybody try to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be better off. If you think about it now. You'd be better off if you took time, Allah says, and reflect on what you are reading. Not try to rush it.
That's the invitation.
Right. That will give you more of a protection. Remember, another word for taqwa is a defense or a shield. You don't get the defense or the shield of taqwa if you just glossing through the ayats. You ain't think about it. Give you for example. The Quran says, it opens up with, it says, Dhalika kitab la rayba fi hudan lil muttaqin. All right? That is the book, and it is guidance, right? Sure without doubt for those who are what? Muttaqin.
Yes.
Right? A muttaqin is the noun form of the word taqwa, right?
Yes.
But it says those who are muttaqin. So once again, we come back to taqwa. You gotta get, well, what is taqwa? And I'll give you for example. People don't like to hear this, but is if a taqwa is a way of thinking about God and about goodness and about morality and those things, how can I, as a Muslim, especially African American, we're talking about now, think that I'm getting the benefit of the Quran if I'm reading it with a color conscious mind? The Quran comes to guide the human being.
Yeah, that's clear language in there.
Okay, right. Okay, but the Quran comes to guide the human being, and the struggle of the human being is called the human liberation movement, not the black liberation movement.
Yes.
So Satan has been working to get us stuck in the stage of color consciousness that we have become, without thinking about it, are so fixed on our color that we don't allow ourselves to see goodness in other people. This has been African American History Month.
Yes.
I ask people all the time. I said, well, why is it? I look at something the other day. I'm looking at a sports show, and it was showing all of the athletes on the Seattle Seahawks. Their defense team is approximately 2/3 African Nigerian.
Okay.
Nigerian. And they didn't say 2/3 black. They talk about their nationality, right? Now, anytime African Americans achieve something like that, they don't call it. They immediately put it on the what? Color. Black. Because if we want to go around the world and teach our liberation struggle to other people, like people from Southeast Asia, people from Southeast Europe, or whatever, they won't be as akin to hearing us tell about our suffering because we're talking from a color country. But we show people that our condition is something that human beings shouldn't be put in. Now we got a universal message. We don't have a universal message when they always tie they limit our thing to our suffering and slavery to a black man. So Islam comes, Dalika Kutab la Reba Fi, Hu Dalil Muttaqin. All right. So we can't get the full benefit of the Quranic guidance because why? We are seeing the world through the lens of color. The taqwa is not there.
Yeah.
It's mustaqim. Are you following what I'm saying?
We're not going to get the benefit that Allah wants us to have.
Right, because it says guidance for who?
For humanity.
They said those who have taqwa.
Yes. And it's a message for all the worlds.
That's right. But I'm not talking just all of them. I'm saying those of us
I follow.
Those who have accepted Islam among the African American community has to make sure that we are not allowing our color sensitivities to color our human and universal perspective. Because the Quran says, I'm going to follow what you just said. The Quran says, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'ani hudan lin-nas. Right? For humanity. But it's humanity who have a social conscience. Because the word is nas. Nas means social conscience.
Okay.
If I'm not socially conscious of everybody's condition, I can't apply my understanding of the Quran to everybody because I'm thinking about the black people.
Yeah.
I should think about my people, black African Americans. But I'm not limiting my understanding to the problem as being just a black problem. It's not.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that, and I'm thinking in terms of the guidance that tells us, that don't make your Islam a favor to Allah and His Messenger.
Right.
It's a favor to you, to the person who's thinking in that frame.
Yes.
That this is a message to the black man.
Yes, I'm saying I can tell you stories about that. All right. Yeah. If you think this is a message to the black man, you're gonna miss the message to the world.
Yes.
The guidance to the world and the mercy to the world.
Yeah.
See, in order for us to really get the benefit, we got to see Islam as being a human liberation. Because I say again, these problems, I guess we're talking about this thing now with the Epstein files.
Yes.
You're seeing its impact is global.
Yeah, I did a program with a brother that deals with family, giving help to families, to stabilize families. And because he's in contact with many different agencies, because of his business, he was sharing with me how sexual predators, arrive at disaster points before the help gets there. The predators are there.
Yeah.
Because of the confusion that's going on. They use that confusion to snatch up young bodies, Yeah. And also, I got a big response when he shared that in Atlanta, there were 2 young girls of the Muslim school in Atlanta that had been snatched up. And after a year or so, they were able to escape. Now that struck because, one of our children, But the message is that this is going on for all children,
Right,
and
all over this, right? Yeah, very good.
we have to have a feel, a
There'll
sensitivity.
be a concern for the whole human family.
The whole human family.
Well, see, I say again is that, see, Allah is blessing us to grow in those dimensions.
Yes.
There was a time when we were insensitive to that. More
well,
so.
I saw it as a reaction.
I'm saying, but it was a time we were insensitive to it. But that don't happen to us. We were in denial.
Yes.
What you call it, dissident, cognizant. We'll come up with we had this box around our perception. We couldn't see the reality.
Yes, sir.
And I think that as we grow in our understanding of what it is to be Muslim according to the Quran,
yes,
we'll be concerned about anybody who's in suffering. But that's like, right. we come a long ways. I tell you, but I remember a time, man, when we had no sympathy for nobody unless it was one of our own in our own little tribe.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. Yeah. But Allah speaks about, how He expanded the heart of the prophet. Or the prophet's heart was. Well, I'm not sure about that language, but
I
know the message is designed to expand not only our sensitivities but our thinking.
Yes, right. Yeah. Well, that's why I say, but it begins with us. Again, looking into the rituals more.
Yes.
The more we look into them, we see more.
This is an important message to help us to grow.
Yeah, I think we are growing. I think we, despite everything, brother, I think that over the last 50 years, I've seen Muslims in our association really grow humanly. Because up before this time, man, we were, I was telling some brothers, man, we wouldn't even, I've been in situations where you had brothers who we had an iftar, and they would greet certain people. They wouldn't greet everybody that was there. So it took us a while, but we were getting there.
Yeah. Remember, and I find that a certain amount of discipline is necessary, but I'm finding that because we are on the YouTube live streaming, we're sharing the insights and also, some of our developmental stages that are not too, they don't favor us,
Well, I'm saying,
but understanding.
Keep in mind though that, see, human growth favors you by intent.
That's important. Yes. Yes.
Intent. Remember, I was dealing with on the program Study Out Islam. See, remember now, we started at a situation that nobody else had. We didn't even know who we are. So even when we became Muslims, let me share this with you. As a young man living in Harlem, I can remember my first encounter with Islam was really the Nation of Islam, and it was I could tell you. Sometimes I get sad when I think about it. I can't remember February the 21st, 1965. I remember that day. It was a Sunday, and I was a teenager. And unlike here in where I live here now in Philadelphia, the Muslims would do a lot of fishing or dawah on the street corners. And I remember Minister Malcolm Allah be pleased and grant in paradise. He would preach on 125th, and I think it was 8th Avenue, right in front of the Hotel Teresa. And I remember after he broke with the Nation of Islam, that Sunday, he was going to give a speech at the Audubon. Audubon was further north. It's at 165th.
Yes.
And I remember he was trying to get us to expand our Islamic understanding. And a lot of people were resistant. Even people who was with him, they were resistant. They were still looking at it black, white,
Yeah.
And so he got killed. There were some people who was happy. They didn't think about the consequences. And a number of brothers who were leaders joining his movement. They said they went and joined the Black Panthers. At that time, we had a group in New York called the Community Commandos, the Black Community Commandos. And we couldn't see. It took us a while. It took years, in fact, to see that in order to be an effective liberation movement, you got to expand your definitions of who or what you're trying to liberate, right? Because here we are now, 60 some years later, and people are still hung up. They're still hung up, and that's why getting people who say they are Muslim, I don't care whether they African American, Southeast Asian, whatever. You say you're Muslim, we should hold your behavior to the standards in the Quran. So in order for me to do that, though, I got to know the Quran, because people come and try to give you a fast one and call it the Quran.
Yeah, I'm starting to frame the programs that I participate in with that insight, because weaker expressions of Islam and the identification, from those that are in opposition to Al-Islam, they want to, in our case, point to Muslim, quote unquote, behavior that is not in line with the Quran. But when it comes to, it's human. When it comes to them, they want another standard, or they use another standard.
Right, but we have to think of what you just mentioned. So what we have to do is go back to the idea of fasting. I remember when people still do it. They'll fast, but as soon as the sun go down, they will not get something to eat. They want to get a cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the common sense of this health department, they tell you that cigarette smoking ain't good for you.
No.
But you gotta and see, and one of the things that I think a lot that I came the road that I came, because food was not the issue. Right? Because we ate one meal a day. So that was not the issue. The issue was the deeper meaning. That, well, I'm not worried about I'm not waiting for the sun to go down so I run and get something to eat. Our problem is not trying to extend the fast to prove that we are just as Muslim as the guy who want to go out and smoke.
Yeah.
See, we both were on different ends of disobedience. Mine was not understanding that you don't add to the Ramadan fast. You don't. If Allah says fast, or excuse me, the Prophet says that that the fast is from sun to sundown. No matter how you may feel about that, you have the iftar when Allah tells them if the sun went down, let's eat. Nah, brother, I eat one meal a day. No, anybody do it? That's not the Ramadan fast.
And you don't break it with potato chips.
No, I'm saying,
but I'm just following that logic.
I mean, you try to have something, you can have something that's nutritious. You can have an apple, you can have an orange. You don't necessarily have dates. But the key is you don't extend it. That's what the problem is. Even if you did break it with chips, you broke it, right? But the behavior that I'm dealing with is when people want to, in order to prove that you now the true Muslim, you're gonna not eat for I'm gonna eat later on today, man. No, when sun goes down, you take something, drink some water, or something, right?
Yes.
So having lived in both worlds, I've lived among Muslims where they think as soon as the sun go down, go get something to eat. I've lived with Muslims, especially when I was overseas. They used to have a big feast. Yeah, feast at night. Man, what y'all doing? I'm gonna follow what the message of God says.
Yeah,
and
in some places for convenience, they're not working during the day.
Yeah, brother, look, that's pretty common in the Middle East.
Yes, sir.
Very common. In fact, last year, my daughter, she went to represent us at a conference in Mecca, all these ulama, and they had the big feast at night. You know, right there in the Kaaba, right there in the Haram, not Kaaba, in the Haram. And then she showed me one day. She sent me a picture of what they had for iftar. I said, "Yeah." I said, "Guys, they have their own issue that they got to deal with. It ain't not eating."
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, the other way of fasting too. You figure while you having a big meal, the people right across the street, not street, but the Red Sea, who like in Sudan, they ain't eating nothing.
Yeah.
So here's a nation. One nation is in abundance. The other nation is in want and privation.
Yes.
So you know, so I said, remember, this is the community that's worldwide, over 2 billion. You're going to see behaviors that, in many cases, contradict what you know as what's established. Why I said clarity is so important. So important. I told my daughter. I said, you've been born for the mission. You got to know what. You got to know what to do, and not depend on other people. I don't care if they are supposed to be scholars, but they're still human beings.
Yes.
Right? You got, I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. You know your religion. That's what I'm saying. And those 5 critical pillars, know them in depth. Don't just have a surface knowledge. Study what it means to fast Ramadan. Ramadan in particular, because everybody who haven't been doing their behavior, their Islamic life, try to do it during the Ramadan. They big, everybody, they come out of the woodwork. But and sometimes if you use other people as your model, they'll lead you astray.
Right.
Find support for it in the Quran and the authentic sayings about Prophet.
Yeah. So that's what informs us.
Be informed.
Yeah.
Be informed by those things. You'll be all right. Because people some people, God forbid, I've seen this happen. People will be caught in the wrong and try to convince you that it's okay. They caught in the wrong, man. You try to convince me that it's okay to smoke or okay to do this, do that. No, bro, that's not the religion.
Well, Imam Muhammad Abdul Alim, you know marijuana is from the earth, you know.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, but that's usually here in America. That's the American rationales.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, look. And what's happening now, a lot of young people who don't know the religion that well and who think that people know it from other places, know it better than we do, they get caught up in that logic.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so these programs are important for the Zoom audience as well as the YouTube audience, you know.
Brother, look, any way people can learn, that they can make what you call an informed decision. Because our duty just to make the message clear. You can't make them do anything at all.
That's right.
Make it clear. And in our own heart and mind, we did our best. And make sure that we're not living a lie.
Yes, sir.
Whatever we say is what we do.
And years ago, I began to look at, that saying, the proof is in the pudding. You know, when you begin to look at those that are utilizing the Quran and the life example of Prophet Muhammad in their lives. And I think a big test is in the environment that we have today.
Absolutely. Oh, man, that is the test.
You know, you have, and I see how patient Allah is with us, you know.
Allah brought us along the road, brother. His love for us. In fact, I've had a number of very enlightened scholars from the different conferences I've been at. They attest to the blessing that we have.
Yes.
Because, like you said, some find it impossible to practice Islam in this environment.
Yes.
And I think, and more people, believe it, I'm telling you this, more people who see how we do the religion, especially fasting, with confidence, have found more and more faith in coming to America.
Yes.
And not having to lose. I know a couple of brothers who used to send their children back to the country they came from, so they can do the Ramadan over there.
Yes, sir.
They're going to see that we could do this. If y'all can do it over here and hold the standard, then we're going to do it.
I told some visitors to the Quran. They came to the masjid after. Well, it wasn't business hours. They were just coming by, or they may have had a plan to come by, and I was the only one there, and I was speaking to them in terms of the guidance of God and the differences in religious expressions as a social challenge. And I bring that up in terms of what I said about the proof is in the pudding. The Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence are very sound published documents that offer a way for improved social living. But July 4th of 2026, it will be 250 years, and we still have not seen the real true establishment of those insights that have been published. And in this climate, what those believers in the Quran and the life example of Prophet Muhammad, it's clear to me that they offer great help to people that are confused. They really don't know how to be human beings, and that what the Quran offers is how to live a truly human life and get rid of the confusion. And lastly, the guidance of God tells us to take the best thereof. And Imam Muhammad told us we should pass that on to our Christian neighbors, to take the best thereof of what their guidance gives them. And some years after that, I found in 2 Timothy, 2nd chapter, 15th verse, right around there, to show yourself approved by rightly dividing the word of truth. Now that sounded very similar to take the best thereof to me. And in both situations, you need the help of the God of the Creator.
Well, I tell you this, in both situations, and really, let's go to step back for a minute. Step back.
Okay.
When you become a Muslim, especially of African American descent, you really don't know the religion of Islam.
Yes.
But also, as an American, African American, you don't know the Constitution either.
That's right.
All right. So all you have is your good instincts. Right? You got your good instincts, and you don't want to be looking through the lens of hurt.
That's right.
A lot of people of African American descent are still hurt by the experience, and they only look at the hurt of America, of the situation in America.
Yes.
They don't look at how they can, what areas could they use to advance their cause here in America. I remember Dr. King said in one of his speeches, because during January, February, I try to listen to a lot of his speeches because this African American History Month, plus his birthday and all that.
Yes.
But he said something in one of his speeches, and it stuck with me. But he was addressing the American public. He says, "If you didn't mean it, why you put it in writing?" No, I mean, because
that's beautiful,
right? And because I'm saying, what else he said? He said, because I read somewhere, he said, I read somewhere that you believe that all men are created equal. I read somewhere, in his mantra was, I read somewhere,
Yes.
speech. He says, but if you didn't mean it, then he come back to that. Why he put it in writing? So the point he was making was that the things that are in writing, we can call you to account for.
That's right.
I just heard somebody say you said something. They may have heard something wrong, but it's in writing. So I say that is that we have to take seriously what we know of the writings of those documents that hold this country together.
Yes.
Right. And as a parent, I can remember when my children were younger. By the second grade, we had them. They only knew, the basics and how to say their prayers and everything, Fatiha, some small surahs. But they also knew the preamble of the Constitution. Because in order to form a more perfect union,
that's right.
They tell you, what would they tell you though? It's not perfect.
Yes.
You can make a contribution to make it better. That's what they're telling you.
Yes.
But you got to be willing to challenge the things that are in writing to show how it can become better. You can't just dismiss the whole thing. So I go back and say again, you say, Thomas Jefferson did this. Yeah, you know he did that.
Yeah.
He did this, he did that. And, but he also did that. See what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you got to be able, one of the problems that we find in today's environment, people will not give credit where it's due, but jump all over you, think you did something wrong.
There's an environment of hypocrisy.
Right.
Yes, there's America. Right. There's America the ugly, but it's also America the beautiful.
Right. But that's why I said, let's go tie this into the fasting. See, fasting keeps us out of the hypocrisy, because we're fasting for the pleasure of Allah.
Yes.
Right. And if you're hypocritical before Allah.
Yes.
No one could judge you. As to the validity of your fast, whether or not you did it right, did it wrong, except Allah.
That's right.
Right. So what's happening is that we in a situation where we're in what I call a nexus of time.
What does that mean? That word mean?
Nexus means events come together that has similar properties. That if you could correct one side, you also correct the other side. It's a nexus. These things coming together, right? And it's happening in several ways. Let's give a couple examples. We know that technology has grown to the point where you can get an AI, for example, artificial intelligence. You can get that to do some of it, if not all of your work, not some, but all. And in fact, a lot of colleges now and high schools don't let the kids use that because they are using that to skip over doing their work. Right? So the next is that they have a need, and they got a platform to help them do the work. You want them to advance the ability to do the work, but they got to think. They're stopping the thinking just to get the answer. So we got to change the fact that all you want to do is get the answer. You want to think about what is the answer and why is the answer. It's the same with fasting. Okay, you are fasting. Do you know why? Because Satan will come and put a burden on you. I remember a few years back when Ramadan was in the summertime. When you was hot and thirsty, so somebody can't tell you, man, I know that your lips look all dry, brother. You're all right. That you did feel bad, but now you lie to yourself. Oh man, I got this. Recognize that Allah knew before He prescribed fasting during a lunar calendar. You have days like that.
That's right.
So you said, yeah. He said, yeah, I feel like that. I know exactly what you said. But I'm trying to be obedient to my Lord.
Yes.
But now, if you lie, now you don't get the benefit of Allah's mercy because you're not acknowledging the struggle that you take to fast during the hot months.
Yeah, I was working construction during one of those times where you had government saying, you know, how hot it was, and we should pray to God for relief.
Right.
And I'm working outside or inside the plant, and my common sense told me, look, man, if you need to pour some water over your head, you you wear a cover so you protect yourself from the heat and avoid the issues of heat stroke by just using your common sense, man. You know.
It's you say that in 1977, 78, Ramadan was in the summertime, right? And I was in. I think I was in. I think we was in Medina, right? Because they had planned to take it to dive up in the mountains, much cooler up in the mountains. But they had taken us. So it took us first to Medina. We was over there in school, and I never forget they had these sprinkler systems, right? That had them on. You can walk through them and get cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It got wet though.
Yeah.
By the time you walk a couple of feet.
You can drive.
But the point was, they recognized the heat.
Yes.
And they gave you a remedy that wouldn't break your fast, but you got to make that decision. Some brothers, mainly some brothers from England, they were, oh man, I'm fasting. Those same brothers, one of them had a heat stroke.
Yeah.
Because the Saudis and other brothers from different places, brothers from Indonesia, everybody walked through the sprinklers. So you didn't stop and drink the water, but you allowed yourself to get wet.
Yeah.
It was some brothers from England. It wasn't brothers from the United States. They didn't want to do that because they want to show that they were more Islamic, the people who lived there.
Yeah.
This is a mercy. This is a mercy. They got this. They had this sprinkler system on, and he got it on for the purpose for you to cool off.
Yes.
Nah, brother, I'm fasting, brother. We all are fasting, but right now we're gonna walk through that sprinkler system.
Yeah. At this time, I want to open up with the participants, invite them to make offer reflections, ask questions, comments to improve upon this directional language and this directional perception that we're working on in terms of the Ramadan fast. And I want to announce, I'll announce at the end as well, that I'm looking to take a break from being on air. We may have some past presentations in this spot, but I don't intend to be here physically. You know, we may have some. I just want to concentrate more on the Ramadan, and there are activities that are going on that may limit our Zoom participation. So we'll take a break and play some past presentations. So any questions or comments from the audience? We welcome that. And I want to say that Imam Muhammad Abdul Alim, he loves Muhammad Sharif. Welcome.
Yeah. Walaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Brother Imams, how y'all doing?
How you doing? Blessed, brother, blessed.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Yeah, I was listening to conversation. I didn't have too much to add. There wasn't nothing to add to what y'all were saying. Getting ready for Ramadan.
Praise was always good to hear from you, my brother.
Pardon me?
I said, always good to hear from you, my brother.
Yes.
Yes, Allah Akbar.
Brother Muhammad, let me share something with you in the audience. One of the things that that I found that this is doing this with y'all every week. One of the things that Allah tells us in the Quran, it was a precondition for the coming of the revelation, and it's found in chapter. It's called the tribe of Quraysh.
Right.
Allah says in that chapter, it says, for the agreements, for the covenants given to the Quraysh, and these covenants allow them to travel during the winter and the summer. I said, and let them worship the Lord of this house, who feeds them when they're hungry, and who protects them when they're. Now, before the Quran was revealed, this chapter, this event had already happened before the Quran was revealed. I say that for having these discussions every week, I've come very fond of you brothers, because in all my life as a Muslim, whether it's in the Nation of Islam or following or the Sunnah band, I find that brotherhood, what we call the alifat, the social bonding, has always been very important. People you get to know them, not necessarily physically, you get to know them spiritually and intellectually. You one of the brothers I appreciate hearing from. I just want to say that. You guys there?
I apologize. I had to step away momentarily, and I thought Muhammad was going. Muhammad, any further comments?
I don't know if he's still on or not.
He's muted. His phone is muted now.
Oh, okay.
That's what's going on. He's still there.
Oh, okay.
And his hand is still up.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. I forgot I had muted my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Lord Akbar. Yeah, brother. Man, with Duolingo, yeah, like you say, sometimes we don't get opportunities to see each other, but the
idea thing is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the things that brother Michael, this is also for you. I made this observation a few years ago. As I travel around the country, especially around our community, I find that those massages that have some type of strong social bond usually tend to be more productive. Right? We call it alifat. I think it's Surah 3:104 or 103 to the 103. 3:103. But Allah tells us to hold fast to the rope of Allah and be not divided. I find that too many people in our association allow themselves to become divided from the directional language. Mm-hmm. And they can't grow. You can't grow if you're divided.
No.
You gotta hold on to the rope of Allah.
Yeah. When you get divided like that, what happens is your opposition, the enemies come on and see where you are. You're divided. It's come back by divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you wanna, you wanna use this the Ramadan as a time to get together with people.
Yes.
Try to reestablish a strong social. That's why during the Ramadan you have say the community iftars. It should try to make people feel welcome. I mean, because you don't, Allah says, and be not divided. It says you on the brink of the pit of fire.
Right. That's right. That's right.
And Allah save you from it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And he join your hearts in love. I find a lot of time with us, we don't show the same love that we want to show to each other.
Yes.
I mean, it's like you don't know what a believer has been going through over the last year. So if a person comes to the masjid for iftar, welcome them.
Yes.
Make them feel at home. Make them let them know that you appreciate them coming out.
Yes, sir.
And be genuine. Don't assume that the person. Some people will assume that the person is not fasting according to our standard. We'll be checking people out. We are not the
Ramadan police.
Ramadan police. We're not. No. The brother came to last year. He put some chalk on his mouth, making like he was fasting. Anybody can tell him it was chalk, but I tell you, leave him alone. See, you don't know what's going on in his life.
Yes.
We're talking about environment. Some people are living in hell. So they come to the masjid, they don't want more hell.
They want relief.
They want you to show them some kindness.
Yes, sir.
Some love, some brotherly. The word is alifat. Like says, he bound your heart in this alifat. Many must have that go to, man. There's no alifat. People just cold. Both the brothers and the sisters. Damn. They looking at you strange if you. So I just move around from masjid to masjid. I just want to check things out. I said, man, people are dying. There's no warmth.
Yes.
There's no, how you sound like, sometimes you greet one person and don't greet the other one.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, come on, man. We're talking about, we all living in hell.
Yeah.
We all here in America, man. We're all African Americans. Sometimes I go to immigrants. I teach a lot of immigrant massages. They sit in there, Imam, they're all excited. Goes to African American man. Oh, that's Arlene. What you mean? I put them on the blast right away. The immigrants are all happy to see me. They know the battle that their children are going through, and they love to get the common sense, directional language.
Yes, sir.
African Americans, man, they still, and God forbid, don't mention something about our past. Your past is your past. You can't change it.
That's right.
The kids to find the benefits that you got from it, and think about for bringing you along that path.
That's right.
I tell people right away, man, look, I can remember different stages in my life that I was the black sheep in this community.
Yeah.
I was the black sheep, and if you remember, if I remind me, I found this book. Here it is right here. Let me show you this. Show you this right here. This is something I did. I did this one. That's right here. I did this when I was a college student.
What's the name of it?
Concordance. Can you see this?
Yes, sir. A little bit more to your
right.
I guess that right there. Yeah. Oh wow, that's well done. That's well.
Well, don't know that for you. That's the cover. Let me show you. I had the type. My wife did the typing.
Okay.
Can you see the print?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
nice print size too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because my wife she been working with me before we got married.
Yeah.
So
you're ride or die.
You ride it. That's right. 51 years. And this right here is volume 1. There are 5 volumes. And this along the way, shows one right here. This right here is called Quranic Reflection. Can you see that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not in publication though.
Yeah, well, I tell you, now that I'm retired, I'm putting together a fund to get them on Amazon. Amazon, because Amazon, what they do is if you get the e-doc, which is the electronic copy, they can print out on demand.
Are you accepting investors?
Well, we can talk about that. We can talk.
All right, I'll call you.
All right, we can talk about that. Because one thing is, this right here, this one here really was. It mainly to help believers, especially the imams, because it has different topics it can go into. You know, I don't know if you can see all that, but yeah. This was, and I got one other. Where's the other one at? This when I first started out. I did this one when I was on Hodge. It was in '94, I think it was a little pamphlet. And I did an analysis of a Surah Fatiha called Exodus.
A little bit more to your left there.
Left? No, it's right
the other way. Yeah, right there.
You're right. You're right there.
A little pamphlet I did.
Yes.
Exodus of worship. And I went through every word. No, I know I did not. No, that was another book. I can't find that.
Mm-hmm.
How I did with like Fatiha, and I looked at and that's which one I went Rabbil Alameen, worlds of knowledge, systems of knowledge. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Well, you know, you've been practicing investigative scholarship and methodologies for doing the dawah, or the calling people to guidance from Allah. And now that you're in retirement, you're on your own clock. You don't have the pressure. You don't have the pressures of demands for speaking engagements necessarily, or other kinds of work.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm doing. That's why I enjoy doing this every Thursday.
I'm loving it, man.
Because I don't know whether I tell you this, but I had a whole, my basement in my house was filled with books. So the master didn't have a library.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I had must be several thousand books, because I had them since the '60s, books on African American history and all that. So I gave them to the master. I told him all you do is make some shelves.
Yeah.
So every in the history of Islam, every major city had a library.
Yes, sir.
I said that I had, and so I gave them to the master. I'm gonna see next time I'm by there, I'm gonna see whether or not they have put them up on the shelf. Right now they like stacks and stacks of cases of books.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because my thing is, I believe this that you got to pass on knowledge. You can't just hoard it. You got to pass on knowledge. But
it's very important.
Yeah.
There's a saying in the Quran about what's the verse dealing with? Let there arise out of you a band, and I think the word that's used is ummah, and so I found that interesting. The same word for community is also used in this group coming out of a group. You know,
right?
And
well, in fact, it's you say that because in Surah 24 called the light, Nur.
Yes.
Allah said that again, that there's a community that's going to rise who's not going to be fearful. The other one you talking about is Surah 3, 10. I think it's 102. I think it is. Verse it says, "Let there," and they said bad, but that's a bad. The word that's a bad translation, because the word is ummah. It is ummah. It says, "Minkum ummatun," come from you a community. That's right. That's right.
So, and it describes the commitment of this group coming out of the group, that they don't accept criticism, that they following universal ideas of humanity, and they reject those ideas that insult our human makeup, that are insulting or unacceptable.
Yes, with those two terms, one is Mahruf, which would come from the idea of those things that universally recognized being good.
Yes.
The other one is Munkar.
Munkar, yes.
That everybody knows that's not, so that tells us that it's Islam to become a universal civilization. It has to be able to appreciate good and accomplish in other places. That's why Allah tells us, go study in the earth and see that people have made other made other accomplishments before you.
Yes.
I mean, and accept that. One is ma'ruf, is those things are universally achieved. You know, when you get to a point of civilization, we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Yes, sir.
One other one is munkar. Munkar, things that, you know, behaviors that nobody will accept.
Yes.
That's why I can tell you before, this problem you see happening now down in Washington.
Yes.
Nobody accept the idea of brutalizing children.
That's right.
Nobody. That's why it's so important. In the Quran says this: the little child who was buried alive going to ask the question. A little girl going to ask, "What crime did she commit?"
Yes, sir.
And that's telling everybody in terms of if you abusing children, what crime did they commit?
That's a probing question too.
Yeah.
You know, just like the one that says, and it's so succinct. To the believers, why do you say what you don't do?
That's right.
These are probing questions.
Well, one day, probably after Ramadan, if I get a chance to finish reading the Quran this one time, they're reading in the Quran. I want to talk about some of those probing questions. Some of them are rhetorical, but they carry deep meanings. So that you know, once you understand the nature of the questioning process in the Quran, you see the Quran wants you to think, but think deeply. You got to think deeply about the questions that are being asked. Because
yes.
Allah asked the question, but Allah already know the answer.
That's right.
Right? I mean, so you want to know, why would he ask that question?
Yeah.
What does he want you to know?
Well, the first thing I see is hypocrisy. Your thinking and your actions are not measuring up.
Okay, we'll go back. It says, why do you what? Why do you do?
To the believers, why do you say what you don't do?
So a person is speaking.
Yes.
Right? The Islam is coming out of their mouth only. What you don't do.
What I'm looking at is, you know, your expressions, your verbal expressions are coming from your thought process. So you're not thinking right.
Well, you know, there's a saying that says, "Don't say scripture, live scripture."
Yeah.
Right.
Don't say
another saying, I can show you better than I can tell you.
That's right. That's what you want people to live it. If you live in your religion,
yes, sir.
You're to tell me what it says. I got the message from what you're doing.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
And it's a way of life, dear audience. This especially to the YouTubers. This is not religion proper, organized religion. This is a way of living.
It's a way of life. Well, religion itself means to be alive and to realign yourself.
That's right.
With certain traditions. Yeah.
Yes. And that's why I bring that up, because we have so many young people that do not, they're leery of organized religion.
Right. People, period. Hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
Those might knock at my door. Hold on a second.
All right. Any other comments, Muhammad?
Yeah, I just want to, well, I guess you say spreading the word.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, have you heard of Sam Cobb?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay.
Sam Cobb Farms.
Yes. Okay. Good. I see you know about it. So we got to pass the word so more people will know about Sam Cobb.
Yeah, I brought some of his dates last year, and I went online to check what the prices are. I plan to order some near the end of the month. I'm moving a little slow, but that's why I'm trying to get myself better organized by being on the program Thursday nights be one less thing, you know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So
I really enjoy you and others that make comments, and I'll even though I know that most people come in terms of listening mode, I'm still going to call out the opportunity for the participants to make reflections or comments. I'm not necessarily questions. I'm not necessarily looking for questions, although I think, as the Imam was telling us, questions are important, the questioning process. I remember hearing from Imam Fahim Shuaib, the better question, the better our ability to make questions, the better we can get the answers or results. The better questions will lead us to finding better results. So
Right.
I'm all in favor of that, but I really want to, frame this directional language by hearing other expressions, because we all represent a knowledge body. We have particular experiences and education, and these things lead to a knowledge body that may shine light in a different way. It's just like we've seen, okay, for instance, my youngest brother, was able to bring his older brother, the third oldest in our family siblings of 5. He was able to bring him to a point where he brought him out of the darkness of not believing in God at all into the expressions of the Christian faith, what the Holy Bible says about faith and so forth. And I noticed right away the change in his behavior, because before that, he would walk into a room by himself. I would be there, and it seemed like the atmosphere changed, like a dark cloud came into the room. But afterwards, calling me on the phone, "Hey, Mike, how you doing? Man, I just thought I'd give you a call." Wow, what a difference,
Big change, huh? Big change.
Yes, a big change, And so this is what an awareness and an acceptance that there is a creator over us, in my opinion, and
Yes.
this guidance is so important to bring this to us. Brother man.
Yeah, I do lean when you stepped up for a few minutes. How we were speaking about Sam Cobb Farms. That's a brother has produced dates. We all eat dates all year round, especially here Ramadan coming up. Yes, it's going land online and put in Sam Cobb.
Yeah, in fact, there was some issue about that. So somebody was saying, he's a farmer. I tell him, brother, he's a farmer. So they were concerned. Our people have so many issues with everything. Anyway, no, I'm serious. He's a farmer.
Yeah.
And he supported Donald Trump.
That's right.
I said, but he's a farmer. We want to get that rebate money that went out to all the farmers.
Right. He's a farmer.
All right. Here we were. Now we're gonna punish him.
Yeah.
For getting his share of the rebate money.
Yes.
I said, boy, we something.
We something.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
As a Muslim, now in Philadelphia, I'm in Philadelphia. Now, I'm not a Democrat, but since most people here are Democrats,
yes,
I help out in terms of if the mayor wants some advice or whatever, I give it to her. If the governor wants some, I give it to her. Now, I'm not a Democrat, but both of them are Democrats.
Yeah.
In fact, this past presidential election, the Vice President Harris asked me to do the invocation before she accepted the nomination. I'm not a Democrat in that sense, but I knew that she was a better candidate from a moral base than President Trump. All right. So I'm on stage with all the big stuff. People say, "Oh, you're a Democrat." I said, "No, brother. You understand that the Muslim got to be wise.
Yes.
Right. You can't be emotional. If you know somebody got a better moral stand, study the Prophet of Islam. There's a book that people need to read. The Muslims need to read. It's called the Strategies of Prophet Muhammad, and then the person's name is Muhammad. What's the name? Not Muhammad. Omar Khayyam al-Sheikh. Excellent book to show how the Prophet form alliances and he even did alliances with pagans.
That's right.
Right. I said, we got we got a teaspoon of knowledge, and we're gonna be sitting judging jurists. Now, understand what he is a farmer, and they wasn't making no money because of the tariffs. So the president set up all the people who supported him got a little hit. He said, "Yeah, I'm with you."
Yeah,
Made sense.
That's business. That's business. Yeah. We've got Moto G Pure who wants to come into the conversation.
Okay, yes.
Oh,
okay.
Welcome. Unmute yourself. Moto G Pure. Welcome.
Assalamu
Alaikum assalam. State your name.
Brother, Brother Jamaldeen Bilal.
Welcome.
Yes, calling from New York City. Brother Imam Muhammad.
Yes.
You spoke earlier about Malcolm X, the late Malcolm X. May
Allah be pleased with him.
And you mentioned the 21st of February,
the
day he returned to Allah. And, I lived in Harlem during that time. I was about 4 years old.
Oh, okay. I was a little older than that. Actually, where you lived at?
Probably around 124th. I think we actually lived the same block that they had the warehouse, the Nation.
Okay. The fish warehouse. Where the fish warehouse? You lived between Lenox and
7th, I believe.
7th Avenue. 7th. Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, I just wanted to know the sense or the feeling of Harlem, or the feeling of those times and during Malcolm's life, while he was still living, while he was still active. And then I guess too, when the changes happen, disagreements and things like that, what impressions could you give of those times, during that time?
Well, okay, that's a good question. Did you ever hear the speech by Ossie Davis, our Black Prince?
Yes, when he did the monologue.
The monologue, yeah. That was it, because what happened was, see, Malcolm used to do a lot of, Minister Malcolm, excuse me, Allah forgive me, sin granted paradise. He used to do a lot of his street corner preaching right there off of 7th Avenue and 125th, Hotel Teresa, right there on that corner. And so he had a large following, because I think I was about 13 or 14 then. And thing is, all of us was like, we were, I gotta put it, we were more impressed with, we were more impressed with Malcolm, Minister Malcolm, than we were with the rest of the Nation of Islam. Because Malcolm, he like anything, a lot of people realize that to do effective dawah, you gotta connect with people. You can't be, holier than thou. You gotta go out. Malcolm would talk to us, even as young guys, right? And even though it's like some of us, we were planning on joining the nation. But what happened when that happened, people kind of backed off, because Malcolm had a greater connection with us than a Nation of Islam and Allah Muhammad. And so in that time, unlike other cities, by the fact that he was known in the neighborhood, and him and a brother Aida Kenyatta and a couple other people who were known on the street, so to speak.
It's Charles Kenyatta.
Charles, that was his first name. Charles. They, we were learning about Black nationalism back then. All right. So what happened when he got? I remember it was a Sunday. I remember just it was like a shock, because even though it's interesting, that's why I knew that. Let me say this: years later, we found out what all of us thought. The nation had such a strong brotherhood that people, in Manhattan, in Harlem, no one there really believed that the Muslims killed him. And come back later, years later, the Muslims who did do the shooting come to find out were brothers out of Newark. I think they had a report on that. But Malcolm had formed the people that, we had a sense of brotherhood that I find hard to find any place else I've been. And the closest I finally is where I ended up being here down in New York. I mean, down in Philadelphia, because there is like you just said about ride or die.
Yeah, yes.
That's how it was. Yeah, people who we weren't no gangsters like other cities. We were more socially conscious. Malcolm helped us to be socially conscious. We wasn't no selling drugs to our people and talking about Islam, and no, we didn't do that. We were for real. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I appreciate that question too, brother. Cause I'm be talking about that, inshallah, on Sunday when I'm gonna do a Ramadan session at the masjid. But a lot of our young people say them say this. They don't realize that to fully understand Malcolm, Minister Malcolm, you have to also understand the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
And what? See, a lot of people don't realize that in 1969. Check this out. National Geographic, Reader's Digest, it said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the most powerful black man in America. Well, if that's the case, why you never see him mentioned in Black History Month?
It's intentional.
Yeah, it's absolutely intentional, because he was the one. Minister Malcolm, Muhammad Ali, Minister Farrakhan, and his son W.D. Muhammad are all fruits of the tree of Elijah.
Right.
Right. So if you really want to understand the boldness that they got, the backbone that they got, the bravery they got, you got to look at that man, because they were lynching people in the 40s. They talked the way he was talking. So yeah. So I'm in order for us to get the fullness of our evolutionary language and get the undeviated, you can't leave out the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have to put him in that progression. You got to put him in, because Malcolm, I mean, that hurt all of us.
Yeah.
That set us back.
Traumatic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir. I agree with you, and I like to add this as a theory as to why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not mentioned in that same vein. I grew up as a non-Muslim. So I had to kind of just be a student and gather as much information about the history and past things like that.
Right.
And I never really addressed it with the non-Muslims, so I just kind of theorized. But I'll ask your opinion about it in terms of people's reaction.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, the city. I'm telling you, look, if it wasn't for Mr. Parker, he came, and in time, a lot of the love they had for Malcolm, they turned it to him.
Yes.
But this is what I want to pose to you as a theory, the audience. As far as being a non-Muslim or somebody on the outside looking in,
right?
A sense that I got was that within the nation, they kind of killed their own, and very little in history has been shown that I know of anyway, where someone on the magnitude of Elijah was kind of killed by their own. And as a result of that, a lot of non-Muslims, and even Muslims too, part of that, or who understand or study the history, might still be kind of directly or indirectly mad at the nation, or mad at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or members within the nation for killing their own and killing one of our great shining stars for liberation and all the things that we supposed to, or the nation is supposed to have represented as far as uplifting Black people. But yet, we killed one of the most shining examples of what we were trying to, or what was trying to be displayed. So I think maybe I'm just theorizing. Some of it maybe is indirectly being kind of anger at the nation or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Let him respond. Let him
Yeah.
respond, Jamal.
Okay. You want me to respond to this?
Sure.
Okay. That's possible, but what I'm seeing and what I lived through was that that was not the type of division that you actually saw. All right. It wasn't. Remember that this is 65. So for the next 10 years, the nation kind of, in material sense, really blossomed. And in the neighborhood, I say again, once Minister Farrakhan came, a lot of that attention that was for Malcolm went to Minister Farrakhan and his Nation of Islam. But also, the media began to build up Malcolm, right? Because they didn't call him Malcolm X the way that they do now. I tell you something, I remember, talking about, they started promoting Alex Haley's book, Autobiography of a Malcolm X. It became required reading on all the college campuses because to get the attention away from Malcolm, because as much as I love Malcolm, he left no programs for us to work from. The Muslim Mosque Incorporated never got accomplished.
That's right.
Organization of African American Unity never got established. So basically, they left us with a image, right, but not a program to follow. Even to this day, there is a lot of they have, especially this month, you see a lot of Malcolm speeches, but they all are from his Malcolm X days. In the very little from him as Haj Malik El-Shabazz. But I'll tell you a personal note. When I decided to go study overseas, because Malcolm did leave a pointer. He left us a pointer, which is to get the right Islamic information, you got to go study overseas. This was inferred. He didn't say this, but they gave the impression that he found true Islam overseas. Right?
Yeah.
How correct that is or not is debatable. But he did leave that as the marker. But what they give to the public is short time he was Malcolm X, but also El Haj Malik Shabazz. Well, let me explain the difference. When he was Malcolm X, he was speaking from the language environment of the Honorable Muhammad. When he became El Haj Malik Shabazz, he was still forming that language. And I, as a young man, I'm gonna tell you something that happened to me personally. I got kind of confused because I was hearing Malcolm X, but the public or the media was trying to promote El Haj Malik El-Shabazz. I said, wait a minute. He had the nation language, but the Sunni or the Orthodox, we call Sunnis called Orthodox then, the Sunnis image, but he never developed that. He never developed that. In fact, I tell you something else. And a number of brothers, myself included, we got hung up going and researching stuff with the Socialist Party. The Socialists tried to get Malcolm, tried to get all of us actually. So Malcolm was given. Malcolm X his image was given, but it's given as Malcolm X, who had became universal, but he never developed that. So all African Americans who claim to be following Malcolm, how come they didn't become Muslim?
Yeah.
They didn't do that. They didn't, because they wanted tough talking black leadership, not progressive black leadership that's building communities. And I tell you another thing happened to me personally. Right after Malcolm passed, the Black Panthers began to come to Harlem, but they had no morals at all. These guys were talking about the black woman, all of that. They were busting
white girls.
They were busting the sisters. I'm trying to look. Excuse me, I'm on TV. I'm on the internet. I'm sorry. It It was hypocritical, man.
Yes, sir.
I met a brother. I'm sharing with you. I know some time ago. A brother by the name of George Caldoon. In fact, he have started a thing called say the Harlem Zone. You ever heard of the Harlem Zone?
Yeah, he in New York.
In New York. Well, George and them started the Harlem Zone. Him and what's his name? Brother Kennedy. They started the Harlem Zone. Once we got out of college, George stayed with that for a while with the Nation of Islam teaching, and eventually he went with Kennedy's first name. Kennedy's first name. Anyway, they went, but after they realized that in order for the Harlem Zone, Harlem Zone to work, they had to get financing from Wall Street. African Americans did not finance that. So my point to y'all was that the whole idea of do for self, accept your own, reclaim your own, all that from Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, there's a lot that one of the practices of the shaitan is to change the language and the perception, And the reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not broadcast in the history, in my opinion, is that according to his son, Elijah Muhammad had a language environment that made so-called Negroes productive and working together. And Imam said that nation of Islam that was led by Elijah Muhammad is going to be studied because of how the language environment was structured. And within that language environment, I didn't see until maybe a couple of years ago that the Holy Quran had been taken down off the shelf by Elijah Muhammad and brought into the classroom, that his son Wallace and Akbar and Donnell Kareem and Sister Gloria and others were taught by Professor Diab, who became Dr. Diab, teaching the Holy Quran guidance, the Quranic Arabic language. And that was a part of the language environment of the Nation of Islam, unknown by many of us, even those within in the context of being members. And a great help to dignify the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the man that wrote the Black Muslims of America, Professor C. Eric Lincoln.
Yes.
But his contribution to showing a scientific insight into that movement was the fact that he described it as a proto-Islamic movement, meaning that it was moving in the direction of al-Islam that his son produced, or I should say, his son led us to it.
That's right.
And that gives continuity, that shows it's the developmental language, moving us to being better human beings, being better neighbors, being better citizens of the United States of America and citizens of the world, serving Almighty. And there's a lot of generalities going along, but I use the language that I heard Imam Muhammad use in terms of this worship was serving Allah's will and plan for his world and his people. It's specific, it's not a generalization. It means that each human being has the dignity of identifying what their part is going to be, what their assignment is going to be in terms of making a better world. So we've come to the end of the road. Again, I'm going to announce that I won't be personally hosting Not Just Talk. We may share some past programming, and we want to thank Imam Muhammad Abdul Alim, and we hope to work with him sometime after Ramadan in having a series of presentations. because of the way you clearly present things. Like my brother Kareem Hamid says, you give flat-footed explanations, Imam.
Praise be to Allah. I'm hoping, inshallah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think the question the brother brought up was very critical. I think we need to give more time and attention to it.
You're right.
Sir.
You're correct.
Because see,
correct.
our people still struggle with that.
Yes.
And what I've seen is that Muslims who made the transition to Imam Muhammad, I always bring this up, even when the Imam looked at me when I was saying, he gave me a look because he knew that I was on to something. If you really believe in somebody and you can't just drop them and pick up something.
That's right.
In order to give honest reflection on what had happened, you got, it takes time for you to unravel your own belief system and start a new one.
Yes.
All right. And I contend that the question the brother asked was more sincere than the average Muslim I know.
Yes, sir.
Who came up and said they was with the Imam, because they never asked these questions, because in a 10-year period from 65 to 75, I lived this. Our community had more crime done by members in the community than any other time in our history. All right? And we never resolved that. And then when the Imam came into office, a lot of things he had to deal with was the criminal element.
Yes, sir.
Right? I believe that a lot of those criminal elements just went underground.
Yes.
Because a lot of the programs and ideas that the Imam articulated never got accomplished.
That's right.
If you say you with something, you with it 100%. See, there's nothing wrong with questioning the new language. That doesn't mean you don't believe in it. You do like Abraham. Show me how you read the day.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So my point was that, because well, like I said, we just need to talk about it, because I see a lot of believers, the trauma of the passing of the Honorable Muhammad is also resonated in the passing of Minister Malcolm X. Those are connected. If you don't understand what went on in our psyche, you can bring new language, and I think that it's going to take at least 2 more generations before the Muslims today can fully appreciate Imam W. Muhammad. Because at least now we got a body of knowledge. We didn't have that when Malcolm, we had Message to the Black Man.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Think about it. All right, we were down like Muhammad. But then we dropped that and say we with the Imam.
Yeah, I think the Imam's approach was to help us to see ourselves. The Nation of Islam environment was captains and lieutenants.
I'm saying that, but we're saying that from what the Imam said. I'm saying, but how do we deal with it? See what I'm saying? A lot of what people say to me is like parroting.
Yeah.
Did you really study what the Imam says? Did you really look at, okay, how can you go from God is a man and that Dr. Muhammad is his messenger, and you never studied? But the Imam also told us we got to learn the Quran. How the people who have been in this association since 1975, and they're told that in 1975, still can't read the Quran? They did with the Imam. What's your new foundation?
Yeah. And that goes with, really taking time to reflect.
That's right, to analyze
and see what our what do you call it? What our relationships really are.
That's truth. Right, and I talked about this on prayer and Sunday al-Islam. If you don't deal with the trauma that you underwent during that event, it just laying dormant, affect everything you're doing. You mentioned the term cognitive or dissonant cognitive. What is it?
Cognitive dissonance.
Right. It's a person living in denial.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And it's and that's why I say we have programs like this, right? People need to come on and look. You have 50 years since the passing of the Honorable Muhammad. and people still can't talk about this. And we got what 18 years since the Imam,
Yeah.
and we still
Yeah.
can't talk about it.
I started with going all the way back to chattel slavery and the dysfunctionality that was produced out of
Okay, you got to go back to that. You got to
was
go
a
back,
cut.
but step by step though. You got to,
Yeah.
some people they can't deal with that. They can't deal with the fact that
Yeah.
and like some people first of all never was in the Nation of Islam, but they were influenced by their blackness.
That's right.
So some people never really appreciated the Imam, but it's comfortable now talking about the language of the Imam.
Yes.
Right. But where was the language of the Imam taking us? Where should we be at now?
The application of it.
Right. That's right. That's what.
We're gonna have to put a pin here because I don't want us to be abruptly cut off.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well, let's close out then.
And we want to make a dua, a supplication to Almighty God Allah, and ask you to return. Inshallah, we'll have recorded programming, but we pray that each and every one of you have a blessed Ramadan and a blessed Eid, and we look forward to you continuing to support and be a part of American Muslim 360. Next week, tomorrow, we have the reading of the Quran, chapter 18, 7 o'clock Eastern. And then following that, we will have Martha Nyla Williams Abdullah, the executive director of Community-Wide Shura Conference. She will have the Friday Community-Wide Shura Conference roundtable at 8 o'clock. And Martha, let me see if Martha's still with us. No. So we invite you to join that. And following in the afternoon, we will have a series of Juma prayer, Friday prayer presentations. So we close out with, oh Allah, guide us among those you've guided aright. Save us among those you saved. Bless us in whatever you give us, and deliver us from the harm that you judge. You judge, and none can judge against you. And those whom you befriend are not disgraced. Ameen. Thank you, dear audience. Thank you, Imam Muhammad.
It was a pleasure, inshallah. But we will continue this, inshallah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You be safe now, and you have a blessed Ramadan.
Yes, sir. Right. To you and your family, and to the Philadelphia community, and to everyone on the Zoom, and the YouTube. We pray the same. A blessed Ramadan. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. You be safe.
Alhamdulillah, this concludes the presentation or the rebroadcast of Not Just Talk. We pray that you found it very beneficial. Thank you for joining us this evening. Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow for the 9th day of fasting and reading of the 9th juz of the Holy Quran tomorrow morning, beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And then immediately following, we will present the presentation of Surah Kaf. Okay. And following that will be our Friday morning roundtable, inshallah. So a lot to look forward to tomorrow. So we pray that we see you there. We'll end the program tonight by, again, extending the greetings of peace of Assalamu alaikum.